why don't we just jump right in? We're really talking about branding, and you've been an entrepreneur for years, and you've had what, 13, 14 businesses, right?
Oh yeah, there's been a whole lot of them. Yes, ma'am.
So you're no stranger to branding, and so maybe if you just share, I really want to focus on how you branded, what you did, some things like that, and then I really want to lead into how you've evolved, because you've certainly, a lot of the businesses that you've done, I know you've worked in construction and things like that, but you've evolved the business as well. So let's just start with the original, entrepreneur idea. What made you start? I want to have my own business. I want to run my own and build my own brand. And the why behind that, the true why.
Boy, that's going to take us a long time. But hey, can I do this first? I brought you something today. And thank you so much for here. I brought you a vintage cassette tape from about 30 years ago from one of our common friends, Max.
Oh, nice.
I don't think it's ever been listened to, but you can, if you wanted to. You could probably get a cassette tape and probably download it to a drive or something.
Oh, nice.
But I don't think it's ever been heard of or anything. So as I was packing here the other day, I thought about you, and I thought, man, I'm just going to bring it here. Maybe you can get John to sign that.
I appreciate that. Absolutely, he will. I know he'll do that for me. Absolutely. Thank you.
Sure.
See, there you go. Always, this is part of your brand, is just being generous, right? Gratitude and being generous, I think.
I think that's key to all of us, isn't it? Yeah.
It is, and what we're doing. So,
well, I kind of started as an entrepreneur back when I was a kid with a newspaper route and cutting grass. I started cutting grass and stuff around the age of 8 or 9. Before they had weed whackers. I mean, it was literally a push lawnmower and little hand clippers. Then it went over to the work ethic kind of transferred over to having a newspaper. I used to have 334 newspapers that I bicycled every day of the week, and did that all the way up through, right around through high school. And it was pretty good money. Of course, I'd spend my money all on candy and movies and pinball machines. Yeah. So that's kind of where it all started. And I'd graduated from a Christian school, and everything seemed to be going pretty well. And then, of course, we all have kind of a slip and oops. And so I fell into drug addiction until I was about 28. And when it came out of that, I still had my work ethic. And instead of kind of just working to feed the habits that I had back then, I had a transformation moment. And so all that work ethic and all that hard work, it literally started paying off. And I was roofing at the time. I was making $100 a day, and started growing the business that way. That it's been 38 years. We're actually getting ready to sell the business, not this Monday, but 2 Mondays. We've been waiting for about 3 months trying to get everything together, but I've actually sold the roofing company twice and then bought it back even. But I sold it for a great deal. I bought it back at a wonderful deal, and now we're back to selling it again, so I can continue moving on to some great things coming up in our future. But yeah, it started off then.
So it started with a transformation in your life, right? And when we're talking about branding, there's a lot of ways. Some people get kind of confused branding with marketing and logos and different things like that. But a brand kind of goes deeper. And I heard you say some things like my work ethic kind of kicked back in. I had an oops, but my work ethic kicked back in. And so I'm the heart of what you do and why you do it kicked in, and that's where that transformation came, and you started building business. So construction and roofing. I heard you also mention something new, right? So you're evolving into something even more. So you've done construction for a while. What was the why behind that? Was there something, a deeper why behind even the construction side?
Well, how I got into it is I was wanting to get paid every day because I needed money every day for my past habits and just trying to survive at that time. And then, so the why was just really trying to get through the day. And then finally, after the transformation happened, I was able to start thinking at a little bit higher of a level with a little bit higher awareness. And I started learning a few things about how important being truthful was, especially as contractors.
Right.
Because, it's kind of like car salesmen, everybody gets put into this category of not being truthful. And so I started learning to be truthful regardless how bad it was. And I think that's really catalyst even for you and I today in any type of business, is to be at a little bit higher, well, not a little bit, but at a lot higher level as transparency and truthfulness, and then having some joy with what you do. Not just happiness, because happiness is based on happenings, but then let joy come where, wake up in the morning excited for what you do. And I don't know, that just seems to perpetuate into having some self-control and peace about what we do. And it kind of just starts growing there. And then my awareness started to grow into different areas of my life.
So you're really describing branding, right? If you really think about branding, not as that marketing tool, but as the core of who you are.
Yeah, because I think that's really what it is with me and you, and even doing what we're doing here today. It's all about really the heart of the people that really matters. And so everybody's looking for the truth in any type of branding, whether if it's construction or if it's selling a tire, whether if it's doing any type of business, where if you're speaking or trying to coach or trying to work in IT, just wherever you are in our world, people are looking to buy goods where a person's going to be truthful, not cheap, but have some truth about it. Will it work? Will it do what it says that it'll do? Will it last? Is there a warranty? Is there good value for what I'm providing?
Value, right? And in the brand. So yeah, those are all really important pieces of a brand. And I think a lot of people, like I said, might mix up branding with just things like logos and marketing and things. So really getting to the core of that. Now, you've also made a transition. You've got a foundation now. You've got Alpha Omega leadership. I mean, you've got some things going on. So now, I mean, you've the construction world for all these years, and you've got all these different businesses in construction. So what was the driving force behind moving into that kind of business? What's the why behind that?
Well, it really went back to providing good work for a fair price, and then getting other people involved. And so as I got to get more people, I got to help mold, help grow, help mentor other people. And so it actually got to be bigger than what I could really handle. So and we had so many different people that were gifted in different ways, where I was strong, they may have been weak, but where they were strong, I was weak in. So I started looking at their different gifts, and I thought, boy, these people are great. They're smarter in these areas. What would it look like if I could get them to doing some things that I can't do? And can we all make a good, healthy living doing this? And really, it was really about just really trying to help people walk into an area of life that they could get better. So all that branding, like you just said a few moments ago, really came from internal, and it kind of just happened. I mean, and I'm a man of faith, and I think it was a lot of that had to do everything with it. But then as I was looking at the why, I was really, really trying to value people, but also try to help them stand on my shoulders to be able to go further. And, coming back from my early childhood in faith and going through seminary, even as an older person while I was working, I just wanted to see people succeed. And so that kind of transferred over into the businesses, wanted to see the business succeed. So being successful, I know that's kind of the first leg, that we all want to be successful, but who determines if you're successful or not? And then it slowly started moving to being significant. I wanted to start doing stuff for other people. And then now I'm kind of in a part of my life. I just turned 61, and I want to leave succession so it far outlives me, and that the goodness, the graciousness continues to be spread throughout the rest of the world. And I do believe, and I'm sure like you, that everything we do has eternal meaning and has eternal significance. So we're working for things that we'll probably never see, or see the whole future growth out of it. And that's really my why, is what's our eternity going to look like? What's our world going to look like? Can I make somebody's day better, or can I make somebody's day worse? In business and branding and everybody that I meet, you've always, over the last 4 years, every time I've called you, you've made my whole staff better just by your kindness. And yeah. So,
Well, you've got certainly a kind heart. So what you've done is, in building those other businesses, you've been a great leader. You've been a leader to these other people in the businesses that you've grown. This is what I'm observing, even in just
I've
a
got
few
great
words.
people, though. I've got great people.
Yeah, who you put in your boat is important, right? But you're also developing them, right? So you can have the best people there, and they need to be led well, right? Or they long to be led well. They long to be a part of something greater than themselves, And so even if in construction or wherever we're at, right, it's important to feel significant. You use that word. And so I really feel like that piece that you added in all these other businesses, you just did that, naturally. It was something that you're natural at. That seems to be what led you to building this leadership business now. And so now you're helping other leaders become leaders that kind of have that ripple effect. Right? This is your legacy.
True.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Did I? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're really taking the brand and making it your legacy.
Well, and what I've really noticed, and what I wish I would have learned this decades ago, is the sooner that if I could have learned to put a little bit of love with what I do, a little bit more joy, kindness, gentleness with people, because we work with all different kinds of people. If I would have kind of taken love, joy, peace, patience, gentleness, self-control, and kindness and applied that to my brand 3 decades ago, I don't know where I would be. But, even as I think of some of my failures, what would have been if I would have applied a little bit of self-control, not gotten so angry over stuff I couldn't control? What would have been if I would have shared a little bit more love with that people group or with those customers, been a little bit more understanding with their frustrations? I think that's really the foundation of anybody's type of brand. What is it that you're trying to get across to the people? What are you wanting them to do? And can you apply to make it have some type of eternal significance in their life? And it really goes back to sharing not only just the emotional, but the truth of the whole matter. What are people really looking for? And they're looking for love. They're looking for kindness. They're looking for joy. And just kind of those 9 words right there. And I think that'll actually fix every problem in the world, but it'll also help you be able to do all your branding if you keep those as your anchors, or even 1 or 2 of them.
And you're talking about anchors, right? That's the foundation, right? You're in construction. That's the foundation. When you make that your foundation, you can easily help other people. It becomes a natural thing. And I know personally that I've seen you help a lot of people. I've seen you bring a lot of people, teaching them leadership, bringing them, really just helping people in a lot of different ways.
Fun.
Yeah. Can you share one story, maybe somebody in particular that maybe was there a life-changing moment?
And Kelly, normally when a man comes through our facility, there's an 88% chance that he will not go back to the penitentiary, But however, versus a 75% chance that if a man gets out, he doesn't do anything, there's no transformation, no regeneration, that within 5 years, he'll end up right back in prison, unfortunately. And
88% that success rate you're at. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
success rate. And it's through some of the things that we do. We really try to engage with the men, help raise their awareness. And we start with being truthful. That's right. Start, that's a great building block. But then we move over to leadership, investing yourself, trying to get over some forgiveness, unforgiveness in your life, and really then going back to self-worth. And, I think that's important in anybody's brand. You need to feel that you're worth it, and you need to start where you are. And so we kind of start where the people are when they start coming out. Well, a couple of the guys, one in particular that I've worked with, we started working with him, and his work ethic was actually better than most, and he actually played a musical instrument. So then we put him up on stage at actually church, we actually put him on part of the worship team. I started watching his work ethic. He was early. He was on time. He tried to work on himself, not even when he was there practicing, but he was always going home. So I noticed that thing. And then he asked me for a job, because we have a little bit of time difference when a guy gets out, for help him get a job. And so I got him a job at a transmission shop. He'd never done transmissions before.
Wow.
And he picked it up so quick. And my friend who had the transmission shop ended up giving him the keys and the responsibility to the shop within 2-3 months. And we were still working with him, talking about integrity, honesty, and then talking about just doing a good job at whatever you do, and to ask questions. If you don't know, just start asking questions, start asking for help, which with a lot of men, we don't like asking for help. But before you know it, he'd been with the transmission company for about 3 years. And one day he came, he said, "Hey, I know you invest in a lot of people. Would you consider investing in a transmission shop?" Well, at the same time, I'd been having this other guy that I've been working with who came through a place called Teen Challenge. It's kind of a drug recovery deal. And I thought, well, this is weird. And he was actually a full-blown mechanic, just didn't specialize in transmissions. And within 2-3 months, we put together a $2 million company. And
Wow.
I can take you there if you ever come to Texas. You need your car worked on. We have 40 bays where we've got a full staff. I mean, it's just
Wow.
unbelievable off of these two guys. And they're the happiest men that you can be. I trust them fully. And we're partners. Matter of fact, they have 80% of the business and I have 20% of it.
Wow.
So they've taken it and they've grown. And now, not just through a full-blown mechanic shop that does transmissions. Now we're doing alignments and we're talking about doing some other things. So now we're actually start branding for putting something together for new entrepreneurs who are trying to get off into mechanics or any type of stuff to do with cars, doing coaching and mentoring through that. So, I mean, it's kind of amazing. I'm still kind of blown away how just being aware of other people, accepting them for where they are and not really looking at their past a whole lot and letting their past really define who they are. And so that's kind of become a model for me to be able to look past some of that junk that's in all of our lives, right? So, yeah.
Model, which is a brand, right? So
exactly.
helping people to succeed as well.
Mhm.
And that turned in, I bet you didn't, Dan, expect it to be that big. I mean,
No.
40 bays. I mean, you're
No.
thinking, I'll buy this little transmission shop and give these guys, these two guys.
Grease all over their hands,
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, 1, 2 bays, yeah, okay, but it's just, yeah.
That's amazing.
It-
And again, that's the success comes from that, right? The
Mhm.
core of what you're really trying to do, what your purpose, what that true why is, and that's that helping other people, right? Helping
Right.
someone, giving someone a chance, giving someone an opportunity, and that is again a big part of your core, which is your brand. I think that's an amazing story.
Well, when I've done what I've done in my past, when I've been given so many opportunities that I didn't even appreciate, now on this side of it, every opportunity is just an act of appreciation. Yeah.
So what about how do you stay on top of your game? You do a lot, but tell me, what do you do every day? What keeps you going? What keeps you motivated? What keeps you knowledgeable? How do you stay on top of that?
Well, I've really defined what I'm most joyful in. And joy comes from within, where things are going good or bad on the outside. That doesn't change my inner spirit. Happiness is one thing. Happiness is based on happenings. And so I'm happy when things are happening good, and I'm not so happy when it's not. But that internal joy I have has really got me to focus on keeping some clarity with where I am and whose I am. So just about every day over the last 15 years, I've started journaling. And really, I was on a transformation trip when we went to Panama. And it's probably been a little over a year ago.
Mhm.
And about a week before that, I started a gratitude journal. And I know that you've probably heard about that before. In case any of the listeners haven't, if you really want to see some real growth in your life, start a gratitude journal. I got like a notebook and I wrote down 10 things. And then the next day I wrote down 10 more, totally different. The next day I wrote down 10 more, and now I'm at 30. When you start looking at 30, I mean, you can only be thankful for your wife once and,
Right.
for your life, for your parents, whatever, for your job. But then when you get up to 3,000 different things,
Wow.
Kelly, I'm telling you that it's probably been the most remarkable thing, other than some spiritual things that have gone on, but it is spiritual because everything is mental, physical, spiritual. But I wake up every day with gratitude. And I can remember when I was down there, we were down there in Panama, and I was sitting in the airport, and I was watching, for some reason, I was just watching people's feet go by, with all the different brands of shoes, right? And I was thinking, I pulled out my notebook and I wrote down shoelaces. I was grateful for shoelaces. Can you imagine our world with no shoelaces? I mean, it'd be awful, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's really is, that's some of the things I try to express gratitude. I think when you start your day off with goodness and kindness and out of gratitude, I think that kind of casts your whole day. And I mean, we can all get up grumpy, but you can be grumpy all day and your day is not going to be so good. But, so I've had to do some daily disciplines. Of course, there's other daily disciplines that you have to do, but I really truthfully, and just like I'm grateful for being sitting here, I mean, it totally changed my whole way how I viewed things.
Yeah.
Over the last.
I appreciate that you said that, because a lot of people, I love the gratitude journal. I love the whole being grateful idea. And it's more than just finding that thing that you're grateful for. Sometimes at the beginning, it's really hard for people to find that, right? Like they have a hard time grasping, but we have so much to be grateful for. And what that's really doing is it's putting you into an energy of gratitude, an energy of being thankful for what you have. And now your focus is shifting from something that might be negative, because life's going to happen, right? Things are going to come in our life. That we can't control what comes, what happens or what might come in, but we can control how we react to it.
True.
And so I think when we can focus on those things that we have to be grateful for, even if it's a great pair of shoelaces so that our shoes can stay on, right? Then it really shifts the energy of the whole thing. And something you said as well that I caught on was, that's contagious.
It is.
So you're working on that for you, but really you're sharing that. When you come across, you're like this, right? But do this for a second. How does that feel? It doesn't feel good, right?
No, it just feels different.
Exactly. So when Dan comes out and he's written in his gratitude journal and he's walking through his day, that is affecting everyone that you come in contact with.
Well, and the filters, I think through the growth through that, it really got me to start operating not on the things that are, I know there's times we need to focus on things that are important, but I had to start asking myself, what are the things that are most productive? And then with that, I had to really look at what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Can I delegate some of, regardless of what business I'm in? We have 14, and we just sold a landscaping company that I had for 6 years. But what are the things that are going to be the most productive? And it really got me to focus on what my strengths were. And my strengths are speaking, creating, and building. That's it. And so anything that kind of falls outside of that wheelbox, I tried to get one of my other team members. Of course, we're all willing to do whatever we need to do in any different phase, even if it isn't our weakness. But I've learned to be able to stay right there in my strength zone, and that's what's the most productive and important, which, that's led to everything I do. But that gratitude list, boy, that is a home run. Yeah.
I agree. And use your strengths, strengthen your strengths and hire out the weaknesses, or bring someone else in for that, because we all have our own gifts, don't we? And so again, these are all pieces that seem so simple. It's the easiest, hardest thing to do. Didn't Goethe say that? It's the easiest, hardest thing to do, to really be able to focus on the good, right? Because it's so easy to fall there, but it really pays off in dividends as well, right?
True.
I mean, the intrinsic value that we get from that, the soul and all of those pieces, but it pays off in dividends as well. Our employees are happier, and you're bringing people. You helped a couple of guys come in, right? And freely, you're just trying to get them through the halfway house and into a job.
Right.
And all of a sudden they've got this 40 bay, automotive. This is amazing, right? All from simple. I'm sure there's a lot of behind the scenes work and things like that involved, but really it starts with that brand of you and helping other people and what's in here. And
Well, I think another major key secondary is your awareness. What am I willing to do to continue to grow myself? I think it's important to have mentors around you, but so many times I see a world that they're just looking to be fed, and they're wanting what somebody else has. But I've really had to dig in deep, I basically had to go, God, what is it? What is your best for me? And so when he started raising my level of awareness, I started seeing, well, hey, even though I was in my 50s, hey, some of these younger adults actually got real value. They're a lot smarter. They're faster. I mean, they don't tire.
Yeah.
But then I started even looking at the older generations when I was in my 40s. So I learned that pretty early. Just don't be so stuck in my own mindset with my own habits that I'm not willing to look outside and actually kind of that person doesn't look like how I look. So I'm going to totally wall them off and, oh, that person's too old and slow, and kind of wall that off. Then my world shrinks down to the size of me. And when my world shrinks down to the size of me, then I'm not going to be able to sell very much stuff. I'm not going to be able to help very many people. And then actually I turn inward instead of outward. And that's totally, but when I can start looking at people, value them for them being more than just somebody to fog a mirror, when I can start saying, hey, that person is smart. They do have value. They have stuff within them, and they have different beliefs, yes, but they know more things and they can do more things. And you can look both ways. And I think in our society, with me being, the age I am, it's real easy to start blocking people out because they don't look like I do. And so I think that's been really transformational for my growth and for me being able to, I've got a lot of help and been able to help a lot because I've been able to change my perception of people in general. Yeah.
And that attitude right there has landed you 14 successful businesses, has really transformed many, many lives that you have touched. So I am in gratitude for you. I'm in gratitude for this lovely gift that you gave me. Leadership. See there, you're sharing something with me.
What's the name of that one? On the very back, I think it has to do with
it does developing the leader within you.
Right now on the back, to turn it to the side.
Oh, there we go.
Cover.
Yeah.
It says something about vision, doesn't it?
Yep. What is vision?
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
And what is your vision? So your vision has transformed lives. It has transformed yours. You're doing great work. Thank you so much for sharing. You have added value to lots and lots of people today. So I appreciate you coming in, taking your time. It means a lot to me. Today, I'm grateful for Dan Nicholas. Thank you so much.
Grateful for Kelly.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.